I think you guys are wrong. I think we're kind of missing it. I think the greatest of all time argument needs to be a little bit different. And what I'm getting at here is simple. It may sound strange, but maybe you'll be with me. Gable Steveson, greatest wrestler of all time. And I know it sounds weird. And I know a couple years ago, it would sound really, really weird to even suggest that. But I think what we're seeing with Gable right now is someone wrestling at a level we maybe haven't seen, right? And the GOAT argument is interesting because for so long, and this is not just a wrestling thing, but in all sports, right? You've got, in wrestling, John Smith was the bar. He won 6 World and Olympics in a row. That was the bar. And then Jordan got to 7. So then that really started the Jordan Burroughs versus John Smith debate. And I think it's great. And I think there is something to be said for that longevity, right? I think that matters, right? You reach a level and then you maintain it for a while. That's to be lauded and considered for sure. But I think one other aspect of the greatest of all time argument has to be and has to include just the overall height of their powers level that they reached. And that is the crux of the argument for Gable Steveson. Someone who I can't say I've ever seen anyone achieve this level of separation from their competition, this level of dominance and excellence. And I know a lot of people would say, hey, this is not how you should look at it. You should add it up. And that was me. That is me sometimes. I'm people in that scenario, right? And I'll never forget when Shane Sparks in 2021, and he kind of got my wheels turning on this a little bit. Which, you know, Shane, classic Shane, he can kind of get dug in on things, but he sticks to his guns kind of no matter what. And he said, before I think Gable had even won an NCAA title, he said, Gable's the greatest heavyweight in Big Ten history, right? And everyone's like, what are you talking about? Or maybe it was the last 10 years. He's like, we had Kyle Snyder, we had this guy, that guy. How can you say that? And Shane just said, listen, I know that. Kyle Snyder's great, but Gable Steveson and what he's been able to achieve and how he wrestles on another level. Now, that was before he was an Olympic champion. That's before he did what he does. So let's talk about what's happening right now and why I'm feeling like, hey, this is a point that can be made and you shouldn't feel shame about it. You shouldn't feel bad about thinking this. Before we even get to what we just saw at the U.S. Open, let's think about what he did at the Olympic Games, Gable Steveson. Because he only has one, right? So was it a good one? Did he do well there? Well, yeah, he won. Okay, obviously. But who did he beat? He beat the 2 best heavies of a generation, of a decade, really. He beat and dominated Taha Akul of Turkey early in the Olympics, right? No problem. Easily dispatched. Taha just won Worlds in 2022, right? This is not some guy, you can't say, well, he caught Taha at the end of his career. Oh, really? He literally just won again, right? And then you could say, well, wait. His match with Gino Petriashvili, that was really, really close, right? I saw that, right? Wasn't that a crazy buzzer beater? Kind of. Yeah, that happened. Yeah, the buzzer beater. Yeah, the match heroics. But if you actually go back and watch that match, he's up 4-0, casual. They go to the edge. Gable gets a body lock, spikes him right to his back, feet to back, right? So that's 4. But they don't throw up 4. They say it was a step out first, and they just give him 1. And now, I'm not normally one to dig in too much on calls, but they actually, the officials actually acknowledged after this match, that should have been 4 for Gable. We messed that up. They should have given continuation there. And then at that point, it's 8-0 Gable. And he's a takedown away from a tech, and I don't think that match has a need for those late match heroics that we saw from Gable, which actually sort of proves another point. Gable's not just some front runner who can stunt on guys that are just levels below him. When he's in a fight and when he's got to dig deep, Gable actually showed he could do that too. In one of the most improbable comebacks in Olympic wrestling history. Okay, so that was 2021, right? Now, what's happening here? We haven't seen him on the mat since that time. How's he looking? Well, Gable said, hey, I'm bigger and I'm better than ever. Now, it's like, okay, is this WWE gimmick, right? He's talking the talk. Okay, Gable is to be believed now. He is bigger, and he is better than we've ever seen him. And what we saw him do at the U.S. Open was just jaw-dropping, unreasonably good. Wyatt Hendrickson, the best pinner in NCAA wrestling, 12-0. Picks him up, puts him down. Picks him up, puts him down. Easy. Mason Paris, who just won the Hodge Trophy, right? A couple weeks ago, he wins the Hodge Trophy. Best folk style wrestler in the country, bar none. A couple weeks later, just a couple weeks, Gable dominates him, 12-1. No problem. Mason had no hope, no answers, no opportunities to do anything. There's no reason to think down the line, I could get him next time, right? And that is one of Gable's great credits, is you wrestle him and it's like, man, you probably don't even feel like you're close. And that's something with the other wrestlers on this list. You want to say, talk about Jordan Burroughs, David Taylor, Kyle Snyder, Kyle Dake. All these guys had peers. Now, they won a lot more than they lost domestically, but they had peers and they had reason to believe this could be interesting, this could be close, this could be competitive. And they mostly won, but they sometimes lost, right? And that's just not something that's even going to be a reasonable conversation to start when it centers around Gable Steveson, because he is so far above and beyond his competition. And Mason Paris is not just some folk style expert. This guy was a junior world champion, okay? The last time Gable went to Junior Worlds, he did not win that tournament. A lot of people don't realize that. He did not win it, okay? Mason went to Junior Worlds. He gets a pin in the finals. And you say, okay, well, yeah, but who did he pin? Well, he pinned the 2021 world champion from Iran, Zare, okay? So he doesn't just win Junior Worlds against, some rando. It's a great Iranian wrestler, okay? And that's who Gable is now dominating. So I don't think we've really seen anything like this. And I admit it's kind of like, you kind of look over your shoulder like, yeah, Gable might be the best, but you don't really want to say it because it's like, goes against how we kind of really talk about who the best wrestlers of all time are. But I think if you believe it, I think you should say it. And I don't think you should feel bad about it.